Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
General Hospital reveals Drew Kane Quartermain being held internee by his angry woman. Willow Tate, which honestly he deserves. I suppose we can each agree on that. But ultimately, notoriety is going to figure it out. Caitlin McMullen said that it was all going to come out in a recent interview she did. And it was going to lead to the worst moment of Willow's life. We're going to talk about what doubtful person rescues Drew in a big twist coming on General Hospital. Willow Tate's vengeance, the dark truth behind Drew Kane's medical crisis on General Hospital. Each right, let's dig into the messiness ahead. So, right now, Drew is in his own home with a sanitarium bed all set up. And Willow's telling everybody she's going to take really, really good care of him. But also formerly she got Drew settled in. Willow wasted no time, and she went off on Drew. Absolutely shocked him. She unleashed everything she's been holding in. Willow has been pretending to still be in love with Drew, to be pious to him. And playing the devoted woman. It was enough noble when Willow told Drew she's the bone. Who shot him doubly in the reverse, but of course he survived, which was her plan at the time. Willow criticized Drew for his own firing and for what's passing now and said she really tried to find another result, but she couldn't. And Willow also read off a big laundry list of his foul deeds and crimes. She called out Drew for everything, including sabotaging her visit with Michael Corinthos when she went to the clinic in Germany. Also Willow brought up that awful incident that upset wily Quartermain Corinthos when he let the sprat hear him lying and saying Michael didn't want him around now that he'd baby Daisy. On top of that, Willow told Drew that her only remorse was he didn't die when she shot him. That was stupendous. Willow also told Drew he didn't have a stroke. Willow cured him into collapsing, faked the stroke. And she's causing Drew's locked-in pattern. She plans to keep remedying him to keep Drew paralyzed and in that bed until Willow decides she's done with him. Will Jason Morgan rescue his twin brother on GH? Of course, General Hospital suckers are loving that Drew's eventually being penalized for all the rotten effects he's done to so numerous people. But we also know ultimately he's going to be saved. But hopefully not too soon. I'd like to see Willow afflict him for a little while before he's saved. Now let's talk about a big GH twist I anticipate to see. I suspect it'll be a real stunner when the ABC cleaner reveals who saves Drew and ends the misery of his prison and torture at Willow's hands. I suspect it'll be Notoriety, veritably doubtful who rides to his deliverance. Notoriety whose help he doesn't earn. The first possibility as Drew's questionable rescuer is his binary family Jason Morgan. These two detest each other, but him saving Drew could go a long way to rebuilding their bond as sisters. I suppose that we could see commodity like Drew using Morse law to gesture Jason with his eyes to let him know he's an internee. Drew was a Navy SEAL, so he should absolutely know Morse law. That's the kind of thing I also suppose Jason presumably has picked up since he worked in that civil group Pikeman for those couple of years. However, that'd be a game changer, if it's him that saves Drew. Perhaps in the end he and Jason could come real sisters in a way that they no way have been ahead. Kai's reservations could expose Willow's deadly medication scheme on General Hospital. Another person I suspect might save Drew is actually someone who's likely to save him. Unlike the other people on my list, we could see Kai Taylor saving Drew because he's formally suspicious of Willow. Kai might look at the specifics that Willow has sitting around that room and just do some Googling and exploration. Since Kai knows that Willow is the one who shot Drew, he's upset that Willow may hurt Drew while he's stuck in that bed. So indeed, though Kai doesn't like Drew presently, he's still going to look out for him because Kai's a good Joe. He told Trina Robinson he can't just leave Drew alone with his murderous woman. Willow. I could completely see Kai figuring out that Willow is doing commodity with the specifics, and also Kai might warn Notoriety differently and also together they save Drew. The ultimate irony, could Michael Corinthos be the one to free Drew Kane on GH? Another really doubtful person that might save Drew is Michael. That would be the ultimate irony. However, I suppose Michael might consider for a nanosecond just letting it go on given that Drew stole his woman and his life and that he wants Michael in captivity, if he set about that Willow was torturing Drew. But in the end, I suppose he'd save Drew if he figured out what Willow was doing. Primarily because if Michael exposed Willow, he could permanently block her from seeing their kitties. Indeed, if she can't be fulfilled for shooting Drew, the guardianship court would absolutely consider it if there was that concession and Drew said, "Okay, Willow confessed it to me." Tracy Quartermain, will she save her horse on an alternate time on General Hospital? Another really doubtful person that might save Drew from Willow is another person that really hates Drew, his Aunt Tracy Quartermain. She formerly saved Drew when Willow shot him because Tracy showed up. She called the ambulance and got him the help he demanded. Now, she may save Drew an alternate time. But like Michael, if Tracy set about Willow was plaguing Drew, she might decide to leave him to suffer at Willow's hands for a little while longer and also go back by and save Drew. However, I do suppose that she'd do it for his sake, if it's Tracy who rescues Drew. I suppose Tracy would do it to help Michael keep Willow down from the kitties. Also, Tracy might like to hold it over Drew's head for the rest of his life that no matter how awful he is, Tracy saved his life not formerly but doubly. Drew might actually also make amends with the Quartermains, supplicate remission, and be a better human. Ned's compassion versus Drew Kane's history betrayal. The last person who might save Drew to me would be one of the most doubtful given recent events, and that's Ned Quartermain. That would be the ultimate irony since Drew stood there over him while Ned was lying on the ground in agonizing pain having a coronary, and of course Drew didn't lift a cutlet to help. Rather, he indicted Ned of faking the heart attack and walked down. All the Quartermains are furious about this. So Drew more hope it's Ned who finds out he's trapped at Willow's mercy. Because if Olivia Falconeri set up out, I suppose she'd walk down, no way look back, wouldn't tell anybody, and wouldn't save Drew. But I could see Ned going over there to visit Drew, to see for himself what's going on, if he's really trapped inside his own body, and check on his kinsman because Ned has compassion. However, I do suppose that Ned would do the right thing, if he realizes that Willow is keeping Drew internee and bandaging him to keep that palsy going. He might consider leaving Drew to his fate, but I suppose Tracy and Olivia are more likely bones to leave Drew to wallow in interned misery than to save him. But Ned is a good Joe. He's a forgiving person, and I suppose he'd absolutely save Drew. General Hospital prognostications: redemption for Drew and a permanent villain arc for Willow? I suppose Tracy presumably would save him, too. But Olivia, nah, I suppose she'd laugh at Drew and close the door behind her on the way out. I feel like this whole fire in the end is meant to demonize Willow, make her into an endless villain, and to redeem Drew. I don't suppose suckers are inescapably going to ever accept him, but I suppose that's the plan of the Pens. So, having notoriety that Drew has done dirty wind-up saving him, of course, would be the oleaginous outgrowth. My favorite choices to save Drew are either Michael or Jason. I suppose that would be the biggest drama. We'll see how it goes. General Hospital spoilers for Wednesday, February 11th. Reveal that Carly Spencer will pretend to have an unforeseen change of heart while Sonny Corinthos delivers an answer to Lucy Coe's request regarding Jen Sidwell. Lucy just asked Sonny to clean Sidwell's timepiece, so he'll let her know where he stands on Wednesday's show. Sonny may admit he can't go after Sidwell at the moment due to circumstances beyond his control, but he'll have some advice on how Lucy can take action herself. Of course, Sonny might point out that he completely intends to make Sidwell pay when the time is right. It's just a matter of staying until Sonny can reclaim the upper hand. Over with Jocelyn Jacks, she'll face Trina Robinson's grilling session. Jocelyn may have to lie her way out of trouble if Trina's suspicious about what she's been over to recently. At some point, Jocelyn may meet up with Jason Morgan and leave him wondering why she hasn't been staying in touch with Word. Jason seems nonplussed and a bit frustrated in Wednesday's GH exercise videotape as he says, "I allowed. We were working together." Of course, Jocelyn has been enough busy gathering intel, but she may have some effects to slip now about Ross Cullum and all the Caesar Faison-related suggestions she's discovered. Jason will deliver a warning according to General Hospital spoilers, so he may tell Jocelyn to keep her guard up when it comes to Cullum since he's Jen Sidwell's dangerous secret mate. Next, Carly's unforeseen change of heart will leave Lucas Jones surprised and confused. Since Carly needs a reason for this Windmere visit, she'll have to pretend she's ready to completely support Lucas' relationship and make amends. It looks like Marco Rios may see through Carly's facade and sense that she could be a problem, so he'll give Sidwell updates on his enterprises. As for Charlotte Cassadine, she'll get a fresh perspective and some helpful guidance. Will that come during another Valentine Cassadine visit, or will someone differently advise Charlotte rather? Over with Curtis Ashford, he'll admit to Jordan Ashford that he might have made a politic error that could come back to suck him. Curtis will have alternate studies about hanging to get a court-ordered maternity test if Portia Robinson didn't come through in 1 week. At GH, Portia will tell Isaiah Gannon that it's time to learn the verity and face the consequences, so she'll move forward with the maternity test. General Hospital spoilers say Portia will contend she's ready, so suckers will be eager to hear the biopater news and find out whether there'll be any results tampering. In Port Charles, no one is safe from the shadows of their past, but few feel the weight of consequences as sharply as Drew King Quartermain. Captive in his own home, Drew's situation is both ironic and poetic. The man who has done so much harm finds himself at the mercy of the woman he wronged, trapped in a medical nightmare of Willow Tate's design. Willow, ever the master manipulator, has set up Drew's bedroom to look like a sanctuary, a hospital bed, clean linens, and a facade of devoted care. She assures anyone who visits that she is attending to Drew with utmost concern, that he is receiving the best treatment. But as Drew well knows, this is a ruse. Willow's words, honeyed as they may sound, hide venom. The truth is far darker. She's the reason Drew lies immobilized, drugged into a paralyzed, silent state that leaves him conscious yet helpless. Willow Tate's dark confession. From the moment Drew is settled into his cage-like bedroom, Willow's patience snaps. The facade of the loyal wife drops, revealing the full intensity of her wrath. She confronts Drew not with sympathy, but with rage, a purge of everything she has buried while pretending to love him. The confessions come fast and sharp. She shot him twice, intent on ending his life, and survived only by chance. She blames him, unequivocally, for the chaos that followed. Willow catalogues his sins like a ledger: lies, manipulations, betrayals, and schemes that hurt the people she loved. She recalls Drew's sabotage of her visit with Michael Corinthos in Germany, the moment he lied to a young wily Quartermain Corinthos about his father's feelings, and the long list of other offenses she has harbored in silence. The crescendo of this confession is chilling. She admits that her only regret is that Drew did not die when she first pulled the trigger. Adding insult to injury, Willow confirms what Drew may have suspected but dreaded: the collapse he suffered was not a stroke. It was a calculated effect of her drugs, a forced immobilization that has left him in locked-in syndrome. She intends to maintain this control indefinitely, until her whims dictate otherwise. Every blink, every thought, every desperate internal plea is now a weaponless battle of endurance. Drew's silent resistance, a baptism of resolve. Even in this darkest moment, Drew's spirit refuses to break. While his body lies still, his mind is a crucible of clarity. The betrayal, the pain, the humiliation, these forge a new resolve within him. In the silence of his drugged immobility, he begins a mental baptism, a purification through suffering that prepares him for one purpose: to survive, to endure, and to communicate his truth to the outside world. Drew's options are limited, but hope is not extinguished. Every visitor, every glance, every whispered word is a potential lifeline. He may begin using Morse code with his eyes, small twitches, subtle signs, tiny bursts of rebellion that could pierce the curtain Willow has drawn. His Navy SEAL training, his intelligence, his cunning, all become tools in a battle fought entirely within the confines of a paralyzed body. The possibility of rescue: Jason Morgan. The first person fans may expect, and dread, could be Drew's estranged twin, Jason Morgan. The brothers have always been at odds, their relationship strained by betrayal, secrets, and old grudges. But drama in Port Charles has a way of rewriting relationships in the most unexpected ways. If Drew were able to communicate, even minimally, Jason might notice the signals. A blink. A nod. A shift of the eyes. Morse code is not beyond the brothers' capabilities. After all, Jason's paramilitary experiences with the Pikeman unit could have taught him just enough to understand Drew's subtle pleas. The irony of Jason saving the twin who has caused him nothing but grief is deliciously soap-worthy. Should Jason come to Drew's aid, the act might forge a tentative bridge between them, reshaping not just their family dynamics but Drew's journey toward redemption. Kai Taylor, suspicion as salvation. Another potential rescuer, perhaps more predictable yet still fraught with tension, is Kai Taylor. Unlike Jason, Kai has been suspicious of Willow from the beginning. He understands the danger she poses, and he knows Drew's paralysis is no medical accident. Kai's morality, while complicated, inclines him toward protection. Even as he resents Drew for past transgressions, he recognizes the severity of the threat Willow represents. Observing the suspicious medications in Drew's room, conducting research, asking questions, Kai could act decisively. By alerting someone else, by mobilizing help, he might become the first step in Drew's liberation. Kai's intervention carries weight precisely because it is cautious and deliberate. He does not rush blindly into danger, he calculates risk and watches for mistakes. Willow, no matter how meticulous, cannot account for Kai's intelligence and instinct for truth. Michael Corinthos, irony and retribution. Even more unlikely is Michael Corinthos, who has a profound personal history with Drew. Michael could have every reason to let Drew suffer. After all, Drew betrayed him, stole his wife, and tried to ruin his life. But justice, in Port Charles, is rarely simple or immediate. Should Michael discover Willow's actions, he might initially hesitate. Could he allow Drew to remain in peril as punishment for past wrongs? Perhaps. But ultimately, Michael's concern for the safety of children, for the moral consequences of Willow's actions, would likely tip the scale. The irony of Michael saving Drew, the man who caused him so much pain, is a dramatic twist tailor-made for maximum soap impact. Michael's involvement would not just free Drew, it would provide a reckoning for Willow. Her scheme, meticulously designed, would collapse in the face of moral justice, a baptism not just for Drew but for the consequences Willow has invited. Tracy Quartermaine, a family's calculated mercy. Tracy Quartermaine presents another fascinating variable. She has saved Drew before, calling emergency services after Willow first shot him. Now, she faces the moral question of whether to intervene again. Tracy's motivations are rarely purely altruistic. Her loyalty to Michael, her concern for the Quartermaine legacy, and her penchant for control could drive her to act, but on her own terms. Perhaps she allows Drew to endure a measure of torment, teaching him humility and reinforcing her authority, before finally stepping in. If Tracy does rescue Drew, it would carry dual significance. Drew is saved, and Tracy ensures Willow's malevolence cannot reach Michael's children. The lesson for Drew is stark, his survival is conditional, and redemption must be earned. Ned Quartermaine, compassion over retribution. Ned Quartermaine may be the most unexpected savior of all. Drew has previously demonstrated cold indifference to Ned's suffering, abandoning him during a coronary crisis. Yet Ned's compassion, tempered by a moral code and familial loyalty, may compel him to check on Drew. Ned's intervention would emphasize that mercy does not require prior gratitude or ethical perfection. Compassion exists independently of deservedness. If Ned discovers Drew's immobility and the malicious role Willow plays, he may act decisively, not out of forgiveness, but out of principle. In doing so, Ned represents the quiet heroism of ordinary humanity in a world dominated by revenge and obsession. Willow's permanent villain arc. Throughout all of this, one narrative thread is clear: Willow is being cemented as a permanent villain in the Port Charles tapestry. Every act of cruelty, every calculated threat, every deliberate manipulation underscores her transformation. Drew's suffering is not accidental, it is a crucible meant to define her character as merciless, cunning, and unrelenting. Her villainy is contrasted by the slow-burn redemption arcs of those around her. Drew, trapped and powerless, begins an internal journey that may lead to self-awareness, humility, and ultimately a cautious reclaiming of moral balance. His potential saviors, Jason, Michael, Kai, Tracy, Ned, each reflect facets of justice, morality, and human complexity. The interplay ensures that Willow's reign of terror is contextualized and that her defeat will resonate emotionally when it comes. Carly, Sonny, and the tangled web of power. Meanwhile, the Port Charles chessboard continues to shift. Carly Spencer feigns a sudden change of heart, navigating Windermere's delicate politics to gain access and protect her interests. Sonny Corinthos, responding to Lucy Coe's demand to clean Sidwell's clock, reveals that his current position prevents him from direct retaliation, though his intent to reclaim dominance is unwavering. These scenes reinforce the broader tapestry of consequence. Every deception, every act of power, every hidden threat is connected. Carly's performance may affect Lucas Jones and Marco Rios. Sonny's patience delays justice but sets the stage for eventual retribution. Charlotte Cassadine, Curtis Ashford, Portia Robinson, and Isaiah Gannon all move in this web of personal stakes, secrets, and moral dilemmas. Portia's decision to finally take the paternity test symbolizes another baptism, a willingness to confront uncertainty, accept truth, and act with courage despite potential emotional fallout. The narrative balance between Drew's personal hell, Willow's cruelty, and these intersecting dramas underscores the emotional depth General Hospital delivers with each episode. The baptism of consequence. Drew Kane's captivity, Willow Tate's malice, and the surrounding network of potential rescues all converge into a single thematic core, a baptism of consequences. Each character is baptized differently. Drew endures suffering and isolation, purifying his character through trial and reflection. Willow wades in her own moral corruption, forging herself as an archetype of villainy. The potential rescuers, Jason, Michael, Kai, Tracy, Ned, navigate their own ethical waters, balancing mercy, justice, and personal stakes. Supporting characters face moments of revelation and decision, from Portia's paternity test to Carly's scheming. The drama functions like a crucible. Heat, pressure, and tension reveal core truths, forge alliances, and expose weaknesses. Encouraging words, fleeting hope, and acts of compassion interlace with threats, anger, and peril to create the perfect soap opera storm. The stage is set for redemption and retribution. Ultimately, the story threads converge toward a singular, inevitable resolution: Drew's liberation, Willow's exposure, and the testing of every character's moral compass. Redemption and punishment, hope and fear, encouragement and threat, all exist in parallel, pushing the narrative forward. Drew's salvation, when it comes, will likely be orchestrated by someone he has wronged, or someone unexpected, offering dramatic irony that only General Hospital can deliver. His silent struggle, his internal baptism, and his nascent hope will meet the harshness of reality. The consequences of past deeds, the necessity of courage, and the interplay of justice will define the next chapter in Port Charles. Meanwhile, peripheral storylines, Carly, Sonny, Lucy, Portia, Curtis, Charlotte, Marco, intertwine, providing tension, emotional resonance, and narrative stakes that reinforce the central drama. Every action has reaction, every deceit carries risk, and every blink of Drew's eyes may signal salvation, or doom. Bottom line, Drew Kane is enduring a torturous captivity designed by Willow Tate, a true villain at the height of her power. He is conscious, aware, and slowly strategizing his escape through silent resistance. Meanwhile, encouraging words and moral choices from Jason, Michael, Kai, Tracy, and Ned provide hope and potential salvation. Angry threats, deceit, and revenge underscore the stakes, reminding everyone in Port Charles that consequences are inescapable, justice is inevitable, and redemption is always hard-won. Fans of General Hospital can expect shocking twists, unlikely rescues, and dramatic confrontations that will reshape the fates of multiple characters and deliver the quintessential soap opera experience.